Hey Rogue Nation, it's Tuesday, so that means it's time for another episode of While You Were Working Live.
Yay! It's always a full-time job keeping up with all the marketing and business innovations. So this week we're bringing you a closer look at the technologies that have matured in 2017 and just how they will evolve and how they'll be more influential in 2018.
That's right, so you're going to want to stick with us for the next 5 minutes because we're actually going to talk about not only the technologies, but how you actually utilize them and operationalize them. So this week we're actually going to be looking at the 2017 Marketing Word of the Year.
Okay.
We're going to talk about how our marketing roles are actually a lot like playing whack-a-mole.
I agree with that.
And we're also going to look at the cover of Time magazine this week and the implications that that cover has for the future of marketing.
It was a great cover, and you did a really great job with curating all the articles this week. I enjoyed reading them a lot. And who knew marketing had a word of the year? I'm only familiar with the Pantone color of the year, which for 2018 is ultraviolet.
That's right. Who knew we were really that cool? I mean, that's kind of great. And you know, the people who measure these kinds of things tell us that the 2017 Marketing Word of the Year is actually an acronym, and it's AI.
Okay.
And now you might be able to resonate with one of the descriptions that was from one of the voters, and it says, it's not just the marketing word of the year, it's the transformative phenomenon that's going to reshape the world as we now know it.
Wow, that's quite the statement. Another one actually said, seems to be something many marketers talk about this year, but not many of them actually understand the implications for marketing, which is a sentiment I can definitely understand.
Absolutely. I think they're both right, which is one of the reasons why I really like the article that we found on The Verge that talked about AI, the capabilities of it, but also just how fast it's progressing.
Right. This article was really great with all the graphs and charts, and it really put a visual spin on the trajectory that AI is having.
That's right. It showcased what they called an AI index. And the Cliff Notes versions for everyone out there is that there's a lot of money, there's a lot of energy that's being spent here. And while AI is really good at doing some things very, very well, it actually is very limited in its ability around general intelligence.
Okay, so you're telling me that I'm still going to have a job next year, and we don't have much to worry about then?
Yes, you're still going to have a job next year,
yes,
but not exactly.
Okay.
You see, here's the reason why. You're going to want to go off and look at all those charts and graphs because I think they really tell the story of AI. But I thought this was another great quote, a good way to sum it all up, and it came from the head of Facebook's AI division. He says, even though our most advanced AI systems are dumber than a rat, it won't stop them from having a huge effect on our lives, especially in the world of work. And you know, McKinsey Consulting is still projecting that 800 million jobs are going to be automated over the next 12 years.
That is a crazy amount of jobs, especially for a technology that they're saying is only as smart as a rat. I actually found that this article is saying something interesting about artificial intelligence in that it really hasn't progressed that much further than our current systems, in that it has trouble with the human element of error and unpredictability, and it can't really quite read those yet. So I know that will change very rapidly, though.
It's really a great point, and we kind of like bounce here and there and everything. It is a lot like playing whack-a-mole, which was a really great article here. You might have seen some news this week that said if you eat cheese every single day now, that's actually great for your health.
Love cheese.
But you know, that wasn't the case just a few months ago, right? It would have been the exact opposite. And the same thing actually happens in the technology space. Okay. The technology is going to help us do our jobs better. Then the technology is going to take over our jobs. Now we're just reading that, you know, maybe it's not as smart as we think. It's not really about the tool and the technology. It is all about what we do with it.
Right, so that brings us to our must-read article of the week, which is brought to us by Martech, and it did a really great job of talking about what we're up against.
I think that's really true, and what was really great and most interesting about this article, lots and lots of cool things in this article, but one of the things that was really interesting was the idea that we always design for mobile first. That is what we do, and everybody would talk about that, mobile first, mobile first. We're designing for the smartphones in our pockets, and it makes a lot of sense. And the article asked the question, you know, what is going to replace the smartphone? The answer is nothing, and yet everything. And if we think about it, our cars are now hotspots. They've got all the applications inside of them. We've got appliances that are super smart and connected. We've got virtual reality and all of those things. All of this ecosystem is working, and so many different touch points. And we have to really start thinking about things not from the focus of the smartphone. We made that mistake 10 years ago in our industry. Everything was being designed for desktops. Even your smartphones in your pocket, you could still utilize them just like you would on a desktop. So it's not until we take a step back and start thinking about how people might use these things differently that we actually start to innovate and do some of that kind of stuff. And we're at that precipice right now.
Right, I think that just brings up the point that we really need to be focusing on, designing and our marketing efforts on user behavior rather than the platform or the tool that it's on. And that seems to be kind of where it's going.
So true. We at Rogue, we call that operationalizing a system. Again, the idea for us is that it's not really about the tool or technology. They're all great. It's about what we do with them and how we actually make them work inside of our marketing stack. And that's one of the reasons that I loved what Time magazine did this year with its Person of the Year and the cover of this. It really gave a face to that idea.
It did. This was a really great cover, and I sure hope that this subject matter is going to transform, what our culture is viewing on these particular women and the stories, and the cover is great.
I do too. I mean, I've got a daughter, and this is this is the kind of thing that really matters. I do hope that it transforms. But beyond the story, and beyond the idea that you actually know who these ladies are on this cover, beyond all of that, what I think is really interesting is what's happening in the lower right-hand corner of this part of this cover. These ladies didn't all get in a room and take this photo together. Technology was involved, lighting was involved. All these things were involved that are, great innovations. But it's not about the technology and innovations. What is really amazing about this is this lone elbow that you can't see a face on. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that this represents all the faceless women that have been affected by this, those women that haven't yet told their stories. And while I think that's a super impactful component,
yes,
what I really, really like about this is that technology couldn't come up with this. There is no frame where technology or an artificial intelligence decides this is a great cover. This requires people. This requires people who are designers and innovators and creatives and people who actually have some craftiness inside. And in doing that, they have the ability to stay remarkable. And that's really encouraging for our space.
It absolutely is, and I really love this particular piece, and I'm excited to read the whole magazine article about it. So Rogue Nation, we've thrown a lot of information at you this week, so with that, here is our challenge for you.
So our challenge this week is to actually go and spend some time in that Artificial Intelligence Index and understand the capabilities of AI and also those limitations, because the more that you understand, the more valuable you are at your organization. And then the second thing is to actually take a step back, start thinking about what you're working on and the marketing technologies and the stacks that you're building and how you might do things differently. Because if you don't schedule that time and you don't take those steps back, we're going to continue to do the same old thing, and we're going to find ourselves in the same situation.
Right, and with that, we appreciate you joining us this week. And you can, as always, you can always find all the links to these articles over on our blog that we'll be posting shortly. And we hope to see you guys next week.
That's right. See you next time.